Hi guys! It's Skully and welcome to Skully's Creations. So today we are going to talk about watering. How to water, when to water, the tools you can use to help you indicate when to water, the different types of watering because you can water two different ways. So that is all what we are going to talk about. So hopefully all of these tips and just information about watering helps you not kill your plants and overwater, because that is definitely the biggest thing that new beginner plant parents do. Is we are helicopter parents because we're like, oh, this plant needs water, I just got to give it water and for it to live. But then we tend to overcare, which is overwatering, and then you end up killing your plant. And nobody wants a dead plant, okay? It's gonna happen, by the way. It's part of the process of owning plants, but at least some of these tips will help with that. So anyways, if you like plenty and creative content, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, notification bell so you'll be notified next time I put out a plenty video. All right, so first of all, you can water two different ways. You can top water your plant, or you can bottom water your plant. And bottom watering is essentially, so you're putting your plant in a bowl of water or a bucket, whatever you're using, and then what the plant is going to do is it's going to soak up the water that it actually needs. So this is really this is great. Bottom watering is great. However, my only thing with bottom watering is it takes forever. It just takes longer than what you would just normally do, which is top water. And I will have a clip inserted for both so you know the difference. So there's top watering your plant, and then there's bottom watering your plant. Okay, and then there's some tools that you can use to indicate when your plant needs water. So number one is a moisture meter. This is really cool because it will basically tell you how, when you put it in, it tells you how wet or moist or dry your plant is. So for example, I just watered this Ficus elastica. So when I put in the moisture meter, it's gonna tell me that it's about wet to moist, which is perfect, right? When obviously it's dry, so it's gonna be on the red. Usually depending on the plant, so like for example, this Ficus elastica, I'm gonna wait until it's on the red, so basically until it's completely dry, and for me to water again, because this is not a plant that wants to be consistently moist. However, this beautiful, guys, just look at it. It's just, can we just take a moment to appreciate how beautiful this alocasia black velvet is? Okay, moment over. So anywho, so I also just watered this because I literally just got it. But this alocasia does want a little bit more water. So again, right now it's pretty much like wet, right? But I'm probably gonna water it when it is maybe to the middle of the moisture meter, or almost to dry. Alocasias don't want to be dried out completely, so I'll probably water it again when it's moist, or like I said, almost to dry. So again, depending on the plant, this is literally going to tell you how wet, how moist, or how dry your plant is. I'll have a link down below. You can get this on Amazon for, I think I paid like $10 for this. However, there are different ways and free ways that you can use to, instead of a moisture meter. So a chopstick. I freaking love chopsticks because not only can you aerate your plant, which is basically just stick the chopstick where your soil is hard. or compact. Yeah, when your soil is compact, what you can do is just, poke it and loosen up the soil. So that's what aeration is. Anyways, I digress. So what you could do is use this, and as you can see, I have used this, yeah, it's super dirty. So what you can do is use this to indicate when the soil is dry. So basically, if I put this chopstick in, and do you see, okay, yeah, do you see where there's soil, there's wet soil? That's telling me that the soil is still wet. So here, let me make sure. Okay, there you go. So as you can see, there's soil stuck to the chopstick, and that's again, that's telling me that the soil is still wet. However, take this Syngonium white butterfly, for example, and she's in recovery, so that's why she looks so sad. Anyways, but take the Syngonium white butterflies. Okay, so if I put this in, and if I basically, put the stick in and pull it out, you'll see that there's no soil stuck, there's no wet soil stuck to the chopstick. Okay, so that's an indicator that your soil is dry. So this is great. Honestly, I used the chopstick method for about a year before I got a moisture meter. I just recently got a moisture meter, and yeah, I like the moisture meter, especially because now I have calatheas and they're a little bit more on the finicky side, and I just want to make sure that the soil does stay consistently moist. So yes, but if you have like pothos, syngonium, if you have a ficus elastica, these plants like to be fully dry. So this is a perfect tool that you can use to make sure, hey, is my soil dry or is my soil not dry? Oh my god, editing Skully here again. I forgot to mention actually that you will eventually notice your pot lighter when it needs water as well. That's just another tip to keep in mind when knowing when to water your plant as well. You will notice your plant lighter, but that takes a little bit of time to figure out. But yeah, that's another tip. When your pot is light, time to water. Okay, bye. Another tip that I have that actually my boyfriend uses all the time, again, for plants that want to be completely dried out, is when you have a drainage hole, if you just like poke into the drainage hole, and if the soil is dry, it's probably time for a watering. But like I poked in right here, and just the very, very, very bottom is just a little bit on the moist side. Plus this Syngonium likes to be really, really, well, yeah, she likes to be completely dried out, before I water her. So that's another great way to tell if your plant needs water. It's just basically poke your finger in there, see if the soil is dry or if it's wet, and then if it's dry, give it a good watering. If it's wet, yeah, then don't water it. So those are some tools that you can use to tell whether a plant needs water or whether it doesn't. Another thing, plants will also tell you when they need watering, and you'll start noticing this the more times you water your plant. But plants will sometimes droop to indicate that they need water. A great example of that is a peace lily. So as you can see, this peace lily is propped up and she's well watered. But what peace lilies will do is they will literally droop, and that's the plant telling you it needs water. That's a great way to tell, because like I said, the plants will tell you when they need water. However, just so you're aware, in order for a plant to wilt and then prop back up, it's using its energy. And the more times it does that, the more energy it's using. And that's not really ideal for the plant. So It's a good indicator in the beginning, so that way you kind of have an idea, oh, okay, it's been about 2 weeks since I've watered this plant, or oh, it's been about a week since I've watered this plant, since it's drooped again. And then after that, you kind of have an idea of when to water your plant before it gets to that droopy stage. But again, that's a great example of one. However, there's a lot of plants that will tell you that they're droopy. I mean, pothos are another one, or epipremnum is another one that will droop, so they like look a little bit sad. And the worst thing you can do with a plant is overwater, because what overwatering does will not only kill your plant, because it will, but it will give your plant root rot. So this is my boyfriend's peace lily that I'm saving again from root rot, and I am trying, let me see, okay, let me give you a good example of like what this like looks like. Do you see this black and mushy stuff? Okay, this black and mushy stuff is rot. So basically that black and mushy stuff will be all over your roots as well. Like your roots will look like that, will look black and mushy. And another indicator that you have root rot is when you slightly just go like this to the roots, and if it comes off, you have root rot. So overwatering your plant will cause your roots to rot. And after this, I'm gonna wash that mush off and then refill this glass of water and then put it, to recover and basically regrow its roots. But that's what will happen when you overwater a plant. So it is definitely better to underwater than overwater. But here's the thing. With underwatering your plant, what ends up happening as well is your plant's roots will dry out, and dry out so much that it no longer can soak up any water. And then those dead roots are just chilling in your pot. And once you put water in them, those roots are going to turn into mush, therefore rotting. So again, you have another rotted plant. And at that point, it will spread to the other roots, and then your whole plant is rotted. So super underwatering is not great either, because like I said, that's what will happen to your roots. But overwatering is just a faster way of giving your plant root rot. So most plants honestly thrive on neglect. And I say that, I don't want to say like neglect, but like for example, if you have your plants in terracotta is very porous. So basically it has like little itty air pockets that the water, that the terracotta will soak up. So it soaks up the extra water. So if you are scared of overwatering your plant, you could put it in terracotta and you'd be good to go. But just keep in mind that you have a less likely chance of overwatering your plant if it's in terracotta, because the terracotta is soaking up the water too, so it's helping you out. However, your plants, because of that reason, will dry out quicker, therefore you're going to be watering it more often. Now, if you have your plants in either plastic or ceramic, this is ceramic in the inside and out. Now, I have this peace lily in here actually for that reason, because peace lilies are very, they like a lot of water. So when I keep my peace lily in a ceramic pot, I don't have to water so often. And that's because the ceramic is keeping in moisture and isn't porous like a terracotta. So for a peace lily who likes water a lot, that's a great idea to do. Photonia, alocasia, those are great plants to put in either plastic or ceramic. Another way you can tell if your plant needs water, basically what you can do, so this is a plant that has just been watered, and you can see when I press just a little bit, it's not very flimsy. This is technically called the taco test, and I learned this from Nick's channel. And he's a great plant YouTuber and has a lot of great information as well. I'll link him down below too. But yeah, so it's basically called the taco test, and you can use this with more succulent-like plants such as Hoya, okay? So you can tell this one doesn't need a lot of water. You can also use this with succulents. So this succulent is kind of dry. So basically when I squeeze on these leaves, if they're a little bit soft, which these are, they're not as firm. So when and this is just a very, very, very light squeeze, okay? Don't like squeeze your plant. Anyways, so if you do a light squeeze on a succulent, if it's not super firm and if it's just a little bit like soft, like this one is a little bit soft. So that tells me that this needs water. Okay, so however, this succulent right here, you see when I do that same thing, it's a lot more firm. And that's because this succulent holds water in its leaves, therefore does not need as much water as, say, a epipremnum or a petunia or whatever. So yeah, so it's holding water up there, and as you can see, this doesn't need water because these leaves are really firm. So that's another type of sign that your plants will give you when it needs water. So the two signs are droopy leaves and or like softer leaves or more like flimsy leaves. So those are two signs plants will give you when they need water. I want to say I have most of my plants in plastic or ceramic, and I have like one heavy watering day for most of my plants about every 2 weeks. That's usually when the majority of my plants need water. However, I am checking my plants daily to just make sure, who needs water, who looks a little sad, because I'll water sparingly. So to have a schedule, I would say it's not a good idea. I would say it's not a good idea to have a schedule, because then if you just have this schedule where, I'm gonna water every Tuesday all of my plants, some of your plants are not gonna need water. Therefore, you'll be overwatering. So but I have noticed for myself, most of my plants, like the majority of my plants at that 2-week mark, that's when they need water. But again, I have most of my plants in plastic or ceramic, which is keeping in more moisture, which is taking longer to dry. So that's what I like. I don't know, I've kind of been getting into terracotta a little bit more. Like, I will definitely put a cacti or a succulent in terracotta because it's not a plant that really, really likes to be dried out. Another thing you can do instead of even using soil, and this helps with watering too, is using semi-hydro. So basically what that is leca, pond, let me see what else. Oh, you can even use lava rock. It's basically the same thing as leca. So anywho, what you want to do is fill about right here to your right here with water and nutrients. That's the thing. When you use leca, you're gonna need to add nutrients as well to your water, because the leca doesn't have any nutrients. What the leca's doing is basically it's kind of like bottom watering, but your roots will basically suck up the water when it needs, and the leca pretty much stays moist. And yeah, that's just how it works. It's really easy. It's a great way to root plants such as Hoya. So, I mean, I just have this Hoya in there, but it's a great way to root plants as well. So anyway, you can use leca as another substrate in order to help you water your plants, whether it be you just want to not worry about them too much. Leca's really great. It's a little bit more expensive to do leca because you do have to buy your nutrients and mix that with the water. But in the end, you can reuse leca, and I don't know, I'm finding it to be really cool. And I think I mentioned this, but it helps with fungus gnats. So yeah, to summarize everything up, you have your tools that you can use, free or not free, but these are tools nonetheless that you can use to indicate whether your plant needs water. Keep in mind, a schedule is probably not recommended. Plants need water when they need water. Signs that plants will give you when they need water are droopy leaves or soft or squishy leaves, or flimsy as well. So these are signs that your plant will give you when it needs water. And then the next thing that will help you is either using a terracotta or a ceramic or plastic. Remember, terracotta is porous, therefore you're probably going to need to water more often. However, if you're an overwaterer and you know this, go ahead and try to use terracotta. It actually might help you and your plant out. But if you're an underwater like myself, plastic or ceramic are your best friends because they're gonna keep in moisture longer than terracotta, so you'll be watering a lot less than you would if you have a terracotta. So yeah, you now have tools that you can use. You now know the signs that you can look out for that your plants will give you when they need water. You now know some different substrates that you can use to help you water. You now know the difference between plastic and terracotta or ceramic, plastic and terracotta, and that might help you with your watering. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. If y'all have any questions, by all means, leave me a comment down below. If I missed something, again, leave me a comment down below. I would really appreciate it because we're all learning here, but hopefully I've given you some good information in this video that will help you become a better plant parent and keep your plants alive just a little bit longer. So that is it for this video. I really appreciate it. If you've stuck to the end, you are awesome. You're the one. Yes, thank you. But anywho, until next time, but don't forget to keep it artsy. Bye.